Well, let's get started. So I'm Terry Myerson. I lead the Windows Phone engineering team, and I'm kind of humbled to be here talking with you today. This is actually my third time introducing a product at TechEd, and it's somewhat ironic for me to be here today talking with you about this very end-user-centric product. My first two experiences were Exchange 2003, talking with this audience about cache mode and the wonders of site consolidation of Exchange data centers. And then from there, I went to Exchange 2007 and talked about continuous replication of mailboxes and all that good stuff. And about 18 months ago, I transferred to the Windows Phone group. And the marketing team was very gracious to make a video here to introduce that transition and sort of break the ice with this talk. So I thought we could play that video. It's been a crazy 18 months since that phone call. Steve Ballmer. This is Terry. You're not serious, are you? Well, I appreciate the call, and it's very nice of you to say, but Steve, this is nuts. Okay, then. I'll see you there. What did I just get myself into?
Hey.
Hey, Terry, I hear you're joining the Windows Phone business. Oh!
And you know what? Nothing would make me happier than having my best end user guy and IT pro guy to come with me. In 10 days, we have one of our biggest customers coming in, and I need to be ready. And what I'm reading here is that this IT department is saying that their end users don't like our phones.
Really? I mean, these are the best solutions for email and calendar. People love our phones.
What? That is so old school. People have moved on. They want photos. They want games. They want apps. That's what people want.
Do we have any data, any information on what people are doing on their phones?
So I've got some research here. All the way back from 1990. It represents the latest and greatest information that we have. People love email and calendar. What, do you not want to be productive?
Productive, I get. 1990 is my case in point. 1990! We've evolved. We've moved on.
We know one thing. People don't change.
Oh, you're so wrong. People want a modern-day smartphone.
Guys. 10 days. Let's get it together. We don't have a lot of time. We got to focus.
Their phone.
You need to evolve. You got to grow. You got to think about what people want today.
Well, maybe what we should do is have a little bet then.
A little bet. What do you want to bet?
I tell you what. Whoever loses has to wear a tutu for up and down the hallways. People expect to see you in it.
You're on. I'll take the bet.
All right, you're on. This is a very important focus group to learn how you guys are using your smartphones today. So I guess I'll just start by asking for comments.
I run multiple businesses, so it's really important to me to have multiple email accounts that I can work with on my phone, as well as multiple calendars so I can keep track of what's going on between all my businesses.
Hey everyone, I appreciate the feedback. This has been really, really helpful.
Hey, I'm a busy guy too. Don't you want to know all the other ways that I use my phone though for my personal life?
Yeah, I mean, I love the camera. I use it all the time to take pictures of my cats, update social network sites daily. Everyone waits on my updates of Mr. Moto and little Natasha.
Yeah, music is really important to me on my phone too. Having access to my extensive Broadway show tunes collection is hugely important.
I like to play games on my phone on the way home. I have to say, there's nothing quite like a shooter game to kill a few people on the way home.
Wow, man, did we learn a lot talking to those end users.
Yeah, I was really inspired to hear how they use their smartphones for more than just work. You know, if I'm really honest with myself, I mean, I do use my smartphone a lot to shop online, to add to my Princess Leia figurine collection.
I knew you did. I'm so glad you're starting to be honest and really opening up. You know, if I had to be honest, I have to tell you that even I, in this real job, use Exchange to get to meetings on time, know where I'm going. People think I'm responsible.
Welcome to the 90s, Aaron.
Thanks. I think we both know what we need to go tell Terry, though. The end user is king. That people want a phone, both for work use and personal use.
Yeah, that's our big takeaway here. We need a phone that IT likes and wants to deploy, but also that end users love.
True. I think we're ready for the big customer meeting.
I agree.
Guys, I really appreciate you pulling together this end user perspective. Your findings were consistent with the phone calls I made to IT pros I've known for quite a while. Everyone's telling me we need a phone that they can use for their individual consumer use as well as their corporate use. Striking that right balance is going to mean some trade-offs. Well, wish me luck in this meeting. I'm Terry, leader of the new Windows Phone Group.
That's pretty good stuff. Yeah. So how'd it go?
You know, I think it went pretty well. They love all the end user goodness and really appreciated the roadmap and our management capabilities. But with them liking both sides of the coin, I'm not sure who won the bet.
I really hope we look as good in pink as Terry does.
Well, we're going to find out. With that intro, it is kind of erotic because there is a lot of truth to that story. My background was all in the enterprise space. Came to the mobile group. Really was the first week on the job. We have these executive briefings at Microsoft, and I sat down with the CIO of one of Microsoft's largest customers and got an earful about the end user experience and how that was most on his mind as he was investing in Windows phones for his organization. He cared very much about the end user feedback he was receiving. So we recognized it was really time for change. And we really have changed the Windows Phone platform dramatically over the last 18 months. Internalizing this change, we want to look at data. We want to understand what really has gone on with this computing platform and with the workforce that's using the computing platform. And so we do look at these trends of the changing computing environment, this consumerization of IT, this computing platform that people are going to use for work. This actually, they actually use for their personal life every moment of the day. It's in their pocket. It is their tether to the cloud and to the back-end services they use. The phone has become, in many ways, the most personal computing platform we all have. And especially with these new employees entering the workplace, and as they use social networking and are more comfortable with that to some extent than email, they expect this mobile device to be very personal for them, and so we needed to adopt Windows Phone to be that way. And so with me 18 months ago came a new group, a new set of people to help tackle this challenge. And Microsoft, I came from Exchange. We brought Tom Gibbons from the hardware group over. Joe Belfiore and Albert Shum came from the more user experience perspective. Joe from Media Center and Zune. Albert came from Nike and Zune. Richard and Henry, you might have heard talk here over the years about the core architecture of desktop Windows and Windows Server. And Achim Berg joined us with a customer-centric perspective to lead us through as we work through customers around the world. So it really is a whole new team working on Windows Phone. And we really need to set in place a new direction. And the direction we started then, we obviously took what was actually a good platform. We wanted to take it in a new direction with new speed. There really were three pillars we focused on. The first was end user design. We knew we were designing for the end user. We wanted to look holistically across all the experiences on the phone and give them a delightful but consistent and very usable feel. So it isn't just referring to the shell, but we wanted the core experiences that would span Office to photos to music to have this consistent end user design. The second thing we focused on was the platform. And so we look at these the modern smartphones and we see very excellent games and applications. We wanted to make sure we could leverage the great Microsoft development tools that we have across all three screens, making the phone one of those three screens and really as a primary participant and bring that to the phone. And so there we really focused on Silverlight and XNA for the phone, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes. And finally, the last area we focused on quite extensively was the hardware. There's the PC ecosystem has evolved over time to provide a very consistent platform of a BIOS, a PCI bus, UEFI for power management. The phone was not there. The phone is a place where it's more like an embedded system, where every phone is unique. And so we wanted to both provide a consistent target for application developers so they would know what screen size or screen dimensions they'd be targeting, what graphics and multimedia capabilities would consistently be on the phone so they could consistent target. But we also wanted to work with the hardware vendors so we could have the ability to update the phones over time as well. With every phone being custom, you can't really update all phones. And so with Windows Mobile 6 and other platforms, you don't see a consistent update experience, but by really working with the hardware spec and the partners, we've got to this chassis definition for phones, which we think will really pay off now and into the future. And so, most important, we wanted to have a phone that was different. You know, one of the ways we evaluated that was, quite frankly, we put all the other phones next to them, and we said, you know, we can't have our phone looking like all the other phones. It's not, you know, we need to, if we're going to come back, let's do something different and unique, and I think we've genuinely achieved that. When I look at our phone next to the others, I think ours is better looking. But you know, it is different. And there's two dimensions upon which we think about it being different. We called them, the first one, smart design. And here we looked at the front experience of our phones, Windows Mobile 6X, and other alternatives in the marketplace. And we really wanted to take the best of what we saw, but also take it a step forward. If you think about Windows Mobile 6X today, it does a great job of showing you where your next appointment is, showing you the status of how many emails you have and other notifications right up front. It's very nice, and I think it's best in class in that regard. If you look at the Zune experience today, showing you recently used music and pinning things to the starts page so you have easily access to music or videos that you frequently watch, it's an excellent experience. We wanted to bring these together with other ideas to deliver what we call this start experience, giving the end user this highly customizable but very quick at-a-glance view, as all of the built-in experiences deeply integrate with this start experience, and third-party experiences can also integrate with this start experience. And so this very quickly, your phone becomes very personal. You start to see you know, your music, your pictures, your friends, your colleagues, your notifications where you need to be next right up front. So it's a highly productive, very delightful experience. The second place we wanted to focus on was search. You know, search is something we do in applications. We search for the most recent contacts to make a phone call. We search for emails. We do internet searches. We search for music. And so we wanted to provide a search experience that was very quickly accessible to the end user, but also was deeply integrated into the applications, and then it extend naturally over to the web, leveraging Bing, leveraging location. And so we decided at this point, along as part of the chassis, to actually put 3 buttons at the bottom of every phone. So application developers and end users can always count on these 3 buttons. The middle button is always start, bringing you to that start screen. The right button is always search. And search, if you're on the start screen, you press it, it'll bring you directly to internet search, Bing search. If you're in an application, one touch starts search in that application. Two taps from within an app brings you to internet search. So we're bringing the search experience right up front to the user. The third place we wanted to focus with our smart design was the browser. The browser itself is obviously a very integral and important application, and we wanted to deliver a delightful browsing experience. But it is the integration of the browser with apps. So many apps are linking with the browser or in or out of the browser. We wanted to make sure we really nailed that experience of how these things transition. And so the third button on every phone was this back button. And so as you navigate pages in the browser, you have the hardware back button. As you navigate from apps into the browser, you can navigate back to the apps with the back button. And so you get this very consistent experience that goes in and out of the browser, integrates with the apps. So the second place we focused on in terms of creating a different phone was trying to integrate the experience. And as we looked at the usage of Windows Mobile 6.5 and other ways some people are doing things, what we saw is end users going in and out of various apps. They'll go here to look at their contacts, here to look at their social network updates, here to look at invites for games from those friends. And we saw as an opportunity to really simplify things for end users to integrate the experiences thematically on the phone. And so the hubs that are built into the phone, there's the People Hub, where you see the most recently used people, their social network updates, You have your full contact list and the pictures of those people. We have a pictures hub, place where you can look at your photo feed on your social networks, most recently viewed photos, curate your albums, manage your albums that are stored off in the cloud. A games hub to keep track of what new games are out there, get new games, look at invites to play games with your friends, look at your badges, your awards, your achievements, your avatar. A music and video hub. This is the evolution of the Zune experience. We have both music and video that you play locally on the device, the ability to go get new music and video, and also we have the ability to integrate third-party music and video applications directly into the hub. We have a marketplace. This is a renamed marketplace, but it's Applications Hub. It's a place like games. It's a place to see not only what applications you have on the phone, but the ability to get new applications, have applications recommended to you. And last but not least, the Office Hub. This is the place where we have the OneNote application, integration with SharePoint, and your documents. And so these hubs will evolve over time. They get richer and richer, but we have this one place to put all the functionality more easily accessible to you. So with that, I thought I'd invite Augusto up here to demo these integrated experiences and smart design on the phone.
Thanks, Terry. Good. So let me just quickly unlock my machine here. And what I'm going to do is to show you Windows Phone 7, which, as Terry was mentioning, is a different kind of phone designed to bring together all you care about most. And what you can see on the screen is basically the Windows Phone 7 lock screen, which allows me to quickly see what is my next appointment, what is the time of the day, what are the missed things that I have had in my phone since last time I opened it up. So, for example, I can see my missed calls, my text messages, and my emails received without even unlocking my phone. And I can see all that from here. Something that I want to point out is that I'm actually using a real phone here that is projecting the image through an application that we have here, showing it up into the PC, and that's what you're seeing up there. And this white dot that you see on the screen is actually my finger operating the phone. So you can see all the time what is what I'm touching, even if I touch 2 times. For example, you see both of my fingers in there. So if I swipe up, I can actually open up the lock screen where I have to enter the PIN. There is a policy that Exchange pushed down into my phone, so it's requiring me to enter a PIN to secure the information in the phone. So I'm going to enter my super secret PIN here that everybody's looking at. And you'll see here the new start screen, which is based on this smart design that Terry was mentioning about. And it shows me these live tiles that are bringing to me what I really need to call out at any time. So, for example, I'm looking at all the different missed calls that I have here. I can see the people that I have on my people contact list, and I'm going to talk a little bit more in a minute. I can see how many text messages I have pending. And then here, for example, you see I have an Outlook account here, which is connecting to an Exchange server, and I have another Outlook account here connecting to a different Exchange server. Because in my case, in my scenario, I work providing services to a company that allows me an Exchange server account. And then I also have my own, the company that I work for, that also provides me a separate Exchange account. So we support multiple Exchange account servers in just one phone. And then I have my office tile here. So most of the things that I have on the top of my screen, these live tiles that I have here, are things that I use mostly at work. The people that I work with, my calendar tile that shows me your next appointment and things like that. But then if I flip, or when I finish up my day at work and I go into my personal life, I have here my personal tiles, if you will. So I have tiles here showing me my marketplace so I can get apps. I have my tile for the Internet Explorer so I can start browsing. I have my pictures, live tiles so I can look at the pictures that I've taken, Zune for music, Xbox Live for showing up the games, my achievements, my avatar, do turn-by-turn games also with people in Xbox Live. And then I have my own tile here showing up my pictures so I don't forget about me. And then my personal email account as well, which is the email that I use connecting to Windows Live and Hotmail. So that way I can switch between personal and work really quickly up and down, and it's really easy for me to do that. Now, to show you a little bit more in detail of what we can do with some of these integrated experiences that are the hubs, let me open up the People Hub. And in this People Hub, we have access to everything that is people-related in just one place. So it's not that we need to open up an application to do one thing and not open up another application to do other thing around people. Everything that is people-related is here. First thing I see is the recent people that I have been interacting with more recently or lately. And I see their pictures there, and it's actually showcasing the pictures with their names. If I swipe to the side, then I can see the list of the people that I have in my contact book. And this is very important because here we're integrating in just one place contacts that are coming from different sources. So I have here contacts coming from my Exchange server account, actually from both of my Exchange server accounts, the two ones that I mentioned before. They're coming also from my Facebook accounts, and it's coming from my Windows Live accounts. So if, for example, I go to one particular contact, let me go to April, for example, and I open April Mayer's contact information, you will see that April is coming from two different sources. It's coming from Outlook and from Facebook. And it's grouping those two different places where I have the same contact person in just one view on my phone, so I don't have duplicate contacts on my phone. But it's keeping the sources intact. It's not touching what I have on my Exchange server or what I have in my Facebook. So this way, from an end-user perspective, I have access to all that information, but it's not making duplicates on me. And if I swipe to the side, now, for example, it's connecting to Facebook and it's retrieving all the status update that April has posted for her in her Facebook account. So I have access to all those things right from my phone. It's not that I need to open a different application to have access to that information. I can even enter comments into April's Facebook account right from here without having to open up a different application. Now, if I go back, something else that I can see is that if I swipe to the side, now I'm seeing news feeds coming from different sources, again, for all the contact lists that I have in my contact information. So for me, it's a very easy way to really quickly see what's going on with my social networking coming from different sources. So I can see, for example, posts from Katie, pictures that Katie has posted, and things like that. So again, the People Hub is an integrated experience that is showing me everything that is related around people in just one place without me having to move from one place to the other. Now, if I go back into my home screen, what I want to do now is I want to go to my inbox. So let me show you a little bit about our Exchange integration with Outlook, what we have in here. So this is my inbox list account, where I can see all the emails that I have in my account. I can pan down and up, and I can really quickly see all the emails that I have pending. Something that is really important and that people have told us is that they want a really easy way to triage their email quickly, right? I mean, just look at your email really quickly and see what's going on. So something I can do is I can actually pan around, and the email is automatically going to filter by different type of variables. Like, for example, here it's showing me just the unread emails, which are all the ones that are in blue. If I keep swiping, now it's going to be filtering all my email that is flagged. Flagging is important as well because this is very integrated with Exchange as well. If I flag something on my Outlook in my PC, those flags are going to synchronize through Exchange back into my phone, and vice versa. If I flag something on my phone, it will appear flagged into my PC as well, keeping the integration all the time. So here I can see different emails that I have from different people, and these are things that I have flagged for follow-up. Then I can keep filtering, and now it's going to show me only the emails that are urgent. So this way I can easily go through all the emails that I have and see what's going on at any time. So something else that we can do here is, for example, I can open up this email from Katie Jordan, and you'll see that it has a PowerPoint attachment. So if I click on the PowerPoint attachment, I automatically open up that PowerPoint. Windows Phone recognizes that it's a PowerPoint, of course, and it's going to rotate into landscape to show the PowerPoint in the best way possible. And you see, as I start moving around, you see that the animations show up exactly the same way that they were built up and intended when you were creating this PowerPoint presentation on your PowerPoint 2010. And if I keep swiping around, you'll see all the animations, transitions that I have between the slides, all these movements that I have in this map here, how the photos are being treated. But a first hint of things that you can do to start actually enabling collaboration scenarios, just sharing different emails, is that I can, for example, now edit PowerPoint presentations. So if I click on the PowerPoint slide and I click on the edit button, now it's going to enable me to change, for example, this 8.7, and I can do quick edits, like, for example, it's not 8.7, but it's 8.9. And there you go. Once that you have made the change, I can email this presentation back into Katie, so she has the latest version of my PowerPoint presentation. So this is I'll just say no for now. And then this is the first hint of how you can start collaborating around PowerPoint presentations using just your email. Now, one additional thing that I want to show you is that what we have thought about is that email and calendar shouldn't be two separate applications either. We want to talk about integration across the phone. So in this particular case, I have an invitation from Ezio Albioni for a meeting that we have, and I receive my invitations right into my inbox, exactly the same as you will do on your PC with Outlook. So if I click on that meeting request, I can see Ezio's picture here inviting me to this meeting, which is basically a review, a weekly team budget review that we have. And again, since this is integrated in between the inbox and the calendar, it is telling me already that I do have a conflict with this particular meeting, right? So it's not that I have to figure it out and go to my calendar and try to look for that particular meeting at that particular date. I just click on this conflict link, and it's taking me exactly to that day where the meeting is, into the exact slot hour where the meeting is going to happen, and it's showing me that I have a conflict. Now, as you can see there on the screen, I have items in blue and items in red. Why? Because we also support in the calendar multiple sources of information coming from different calendars that I might have. The ones that I have in red are coming from my Exchange account, and the ones that I have in blue are coming from my Windows Live calendar, which is my personal calendar. So now I can see clearly that this meeting that I have, this weekly team budget review, is conflicting with me having to go pick up my son from tennis classes. And I can probably rearrange that. I can call my wife and ask her to help me out with this because I have a conflict. But the important thing is that my life is really encompassing my personal calendar and my personal items and my work stuff. And I want to be able to see when I have conflict in between those two things. So if I click into this team meeting, something else that I want to be sure is that I know who's attending to this meeting. So if I swipe into the side, the same concept of the panorama, swiping around like in the hubs, you'll see that I have here the list of the people who organize the meeting, LCO, who are required to participate on the meeting, and then who's optional. So from here I can see who's accepting, who's declining, and I can decide whether it's important for me to participate on that meeting or not. And then the other interesting thing is that if you put an address on a meeting request, like for example the one that we have in here, and I just click on the address, it's going to go right into the mapping application. Again, it's flowing through the different apps. It's not that I need to close one and then open up the map application. It's taking me to the map application to the exact place where the meeting is going to happen, and it's giving me the exact location where that's going to happen. Now in this particular case, this meeting is in Bellevue in Washington State. So something that I could do as well is to actually, because the phone knows where I am right now, it can give me directions on how to get there, but it's going to be a long way from here to Seattle, so I'm not going to do that for this particular demo right now. Okay, so that's a little bit about email and calendar and the integration that we have in there. So let me go back and now start showing you some of the things. Like for example, again, let me quickly show you the calendar again. I have the day view here. I have another type of view, which is the agenda view. And in the agenda view, I have a different way to look at my contacts in a list view, where I can easily see which are color-coded, which ones are coming from which calendar. And it's also letting me know where I do have conflicts and things, so I can actually resolve my calendar really quickly. Now, these kind of like the work things that we have in the email and calendar. Now, let me go into the Office Hub. This is another integrated experience that shows me how I can, in just one place, have access to all my Office information. The new, by default, note-taking application on Windows Phone is OneNote, which is the same OneNote that we have on the PC. The cool thing about OneNote now is that it allows me to actually take notes on my phone. I can take pictures and include it on the phone, voice recording and things like that. But as soon as I get out of the note on the phone, it synchronizes that note using Windows Live SkyDrive or SharePoint, and people that are other people or myself will have access to those notes automatically in either their PC or using a web browser with the OneNote web app that we have announced as well with Office 2010. So we're keeping the synchronization of those notes all the time, so you have access to those notes wherever you are. Then it allows me to actually have access to documents that I have saved on my phone, or I can have access to documents that I have on the SharePoint. Probably you already saw the demo today on the keynote. Who saw the demo today on the keynote? Good, most of you. Where we show how we can actually modify a document on the SharePoint, on the phone, I'm sorry, and then show how we can actually modify that document on the SharePoint as well and have the latest version on the phone. Something that I want to really quickly show you is how we have optimized for the phone in the sense that, as you can see, I open up this document, which is actually living on a SharePoint site, but instead of bringing down the whole document, we bring an optimized way to just viewing the document, because this is what most of the people want to do on the phone, which is just viewing. So it downloads a version that it goes really quickly. It allows me to pan around, and it'll show me all the different things that I have on this Word document really quickly. But if I really want to edit the document, I click the edit button, and now it's going to download the full document so I can actually make changes on it. So we're optimizing by what the typical scenario will be. And here you can make full changes into a Word document, change the typography that you have in there, change the full document, etc. Now, when it brings down the document, something that it allows me to do is that this document didn't have a table of contents on the document, but Windows Phone dynamically creates a table of contents that allows me to navigate really quickly throughout the document itself. Looks like the Wi-Fi is playing a little bit with me. So it's not coming up. I'll just show you here the table of contents. So here you can see, for example, the table of contents that I have, and I can jump around in these different sections of the document, so it's really easy for me to navigate around the document without a problem. If I would have had comments in this document, it would have shown here where people have entered comments on the document, because that's a new thing that we actually as well support, which is the support for commenting in different sections on the document. So people that have put comments on the document in a SharePoint site, for example, I can see those comments in here, and if I want to enter a comment myself, people back in the SharePoint site will see a comment as well. So it's really easy to do from that perspective. Now, let me jump now. I finished up my work. Now I'm back at home. And let me show you a little bit of the things that we have from an end-user perspective. So if I go down into my end-user side of the phone, or my personal life side of the phone, as I mentioned before, you can see here that I have my Pictures hub. And in my Pictures hub, here's the place where I can see the different type of pictures that I have that are relevant for me. If I click on the All button, this is really interesting, because what it's going to do, it's going to bring up automatically for me all the pictures that I took with my camera, pictures that I saved on my phone from different sources, but most importantly, it's bringing out pictures that I have taken and posted before in my Windows Live account, which are these ones that we have in here, and in my Facebook account, that is the ones that we have in here. Funny thing is that I posted these pictures in Facebook probably like over a year ago, and I didn't even remember. When I actually set up my Facebook account, automatically brought those pictures down into my Pictures hub, and I remember now that I have all those pictures here. I can share them with friends and things like that. I can actually make comments. I can look them. Actually, this picture is coming down from my Facebook account. Same thing, if I rotate the phone, it'll rotate. I can move them around. It's rendering the picture, so it'll be, oh, that's me eating a big bread pudding. No, you don't want to see that one. But the good thing is that right from here, I can actually enter comments into this picture, and those comments are going to be saved back into the Facebook account. Again, the Pictures hub is allowing me to have an integrated experience around pictures that goes beyond just taking the picture and trying to post it in somewhere. I can put comments on my own pictures. I can go back, for example, and then still staying on the Pictures hub, I can swipe around and go into the What's New area. And again, similar to the People hub, this is a feed, but a feed just for photos. So anybody who took a photo will appear here. That is my friend on Facebook or Windows Live, and I can make comments on those photos appearing here. Now, the other area that is really interesting is the area of searching. Terry mentioned that also, as a definition of the chassis, we're going to have this button that is always dedicated into search. I can click on that button, and it will always bring up the search capability, which is basically very well integrated with Bing. And through Bing, I can do very interesting things about the searches that I want to do. Depending on the coverage that we have here, it will recognize the type of, in which location I am, so it will recognize exactly what are the things that are relevant for the searches that I'm trying to do. But in this case, I want to do something a little different, because, I mean, you've probably done about some of these location-based services. But say I'm originally from Peru, I'm usually traveling, or somebody's traveling from Peru visiting me, so I know that the flight AA 917 is one coming from Lima, and I always want to check that out. So I just enter AA 917, and the Bing search integrated in the Windows Phone, it's going to recognize that I'm looking for a specific flight, and it's going to bring down, if the network is helping me out here, the specific information about that flight. Right, it looks like not today. So what I will do is it will actually go to Bing, and it'll bring down the specific information about that flight, if it is delayed or not, and things like that. And then, just to close, the last thing that I wanted to talk to you about is the Zune Marketplace. So here, again, we have the access to all the music and information that I have purchased with my Zune app. and I can have access to the music that I have. If I have a Zoom pass, I will have access to that Zoom pass information. And from here, I can see all the different albums that I have, play my music, swipe by songs or by album. So I have access to all the music that I have at any time. And again, if I have a Zoom pass, all the information that I have in my Zoom or in my Xbox will actually come down into my phone as well. So with that, I will give it back to you, Terry. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Augusto. Can we go back to the slides? I don't know, can you guys, whoever is the boss up there, there we go. All right. So the enterprise is a very end-user-centric demo. The enterprise is very top of mind. It's certainly the background of myself and several people on the team. So it's forefront on our mind that what is our roadmap into the future to embrace really and integrate with Microsoft's investments for the enterprise. We're very focused in this release on our SharePoint integration, on our Exchange integration, getting the policy integration right with Exchange, making sure we work well with the Microsoft development tools and even data sources and new apps in Azure integrated with the phone. This release was not the one where we focused on integration with System Center and Office Communications Server or SQL Server replicated databases to the phone. That being said, it is on our roadmap. We understand these features very well, and they will be coming to the phone, in due time. But it's one step at a time. It was let's go win over the end users, integrate with this first wave of Microsoft infrastructure, and then look forward into the future and do the next wave of integration really well as well. So with Windows Phone 7 coming this fall, there really will be three different Windows mobile devices in the marketplace. Windows Phone 7 we've talked about. It has this broad end user appeal. We expect the most number of end users to be using Windows Phone 7. At the other end of the spectrum, we have our ruggedized devices. They run some other versions, older versions of Windows Mobile, but they really there's very specialized tools for these ruggedized devices, specialized management tools, specialized development tools. We still expect to see these in factory floor devices, in retail environments, and things like that. This is a fully supported platform into the future. And then we still will have Windows Mobile 6.5. With the move to capacitive touch screens, away from stylus, the moves to some of the hardware choices we've made for the Windows Phone 7 experience, we had to break application compatibility with Windows Mobile 6.5. So because of that, we understand there's investments by many of our customers in the Windows Mobile 6 platform, and we will continue to support that into the future. In many ways, I think about this Windows Mobile 6 really is for people that have an investment in apps or really want a highly managed environment in the near term. We do expect Windows Mobile 7 and family to basically fill in the gaps across all three of these device categories, but certainly for calendar year 2011, all three of these devices will be fully supported by Microsoft. So next, let's move into the development tools. Certainly, there's the integrated sort of first-party experiences of the phone, but something we've all come to know and love with the world's best smartphones today are apps and games. And so we really want to deliver those same rich, captivating applications on the phone, and the way we wanted to deliver that was with Silverlight and XNA. These two frameworks that come from Microsoft, they're deeply integrated with our tooling, and so it's very easy to create these rich and captivating apps. So we've been very focused throughout this release to get these frameworks run excellently on the phone. Now, a great thing about these frameworks is they're not phone-specific. The apps you write in Silverlight run great in the web browser, can run great offline on the PC, and now they can run great on the phone. Likewise, XNA runs fantastic on the PC and also runs on the Xbox. And so you see this multi-screen potential for any application you write across these three screens. And some of the most innovative apps we're seeing actually leverage this fact that it's accessible anywhere and everywhere on the different screens and then user encounters. So to complement these great frameworks and great tools, we are bringing the Windows Mobile Marketplace to Windows Phone 7. This is a single discoverable marketplace for all end users to discover and purchase applications. And obviously, it's a great way for ISVs to monetize the applications which they write. So with that, I wanted to invite Brandon Watson up here for a demonstration of the development experience.
Hey, thanks, Terry. Right on. So we've got 2 demos I'm going to show you here. You guys get a little bit extra here, and I'm actually going to start with one we just did a second ago over in the earlier session, but just because I want to show people some of the things that are possible with the tooling available for Windows Phone 7. Now, I don't know how many of you are familiar with the Expression Blend product, but because we announced the product today, I myself am not necessarily a developer. I can write code, but I've been told by the engineers it's kind of like a 6-year-old with a hand grenade. It gets the job done and it's really cute, but you probably don't want to be in the same room with it and deal with the mess afterwards. So I'm more of a power user who wants to be able to build applications without actually having to write code. So the first application I want to show you is your typical kind of line of business app, right? Folks that are using Silverlight today and building applications in the enterprise want to hook up to WCF REST services and consume data from the network. So the first thing I'm going to do here is just kind of hook up the application that we've got here. First, I want to show you it working. Just kind of, it's a typical data-bound template app deploying to the emulator here. So it's a great runtime environment. The emulator is actually running a full copy of the operating system, so it's not really an emulator. It's running the OS. And you can see that with Expression now, we can have design data as well as runtime data. That's the 2 different sets of data. The reason for this is, I don't know about the rest of you, but when you're building applications, you don't have the test data. You don't really get a sense for what the UI looks like, and it's kind of frustrating. So within this context, you actually have 2 different sets of data. It makes building the apps a little bit easier. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is add a couple of files that the development team has built out for me for my application. They were building a travel reservation system, and I spend a lot of time on planes running from airport to airport, and I never seem to know where I'm going. So I want to hook into that and put an app on my phone where I can consume that data. So in the view models, I'm just going to go ahead and add the view models and a time converter. Great. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and replace the sample data as well, just so we've got that. Okay. And then I'm also going to go ahead and just drop in a nice little logo, because what's a app without a pretty logo? Let me just drop that in there, as well as a nice control, which is the itinerary detail. Great. Go ahead and build it so it all knows what's there. I'm going to go ahead and, real simply, again, the design surface is meant that you could just jump right in and edit the tools. Controls are on the page, so tailspin, travel, name of my application here, and I'm just going to go ahead and, again, edit real simply in the design space. Itineraries. Spell that right? Itineraries. Yeah, that looks right. Okay. And then, again, I have the logo. I'm just going to go ahead and drop that on here, because this is it's real simple to drag and drop your controls and drag artwork into the application. I can use the snap lines and get everything lined up for me, the nice little borders. Just go ahead and resize that and just kind of reposition it, make it look pretty. So that's it. The application's kind of set up. Now I want to go ahead and bind this to data. So the controls themselves have been dropped in from the view model. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and edit the template so I can actually start working with and make changes to the controls themselves. And you can see that what it is just a stack panel with 2 separate controls, item text and details. So right here I can just jump in and do data binding with that. And again, because of the view model, I've got all these data sources available to me. I'm just going to make it a destination, the itinerary start date. There we go, just drop that in there. And then I'm going to actually apply that converter that was made available to me, that little CS file, and put in the converter parameter. And so there we got nicely formatted real data. Now what's going on behind the scenes here is my dev team's created a WCF REST service endpoint consumable by the phone. So this is actually going to go out and hit that endpoint and start consuming that data. And so I'm also going to hook it up here, the destination on the data binding. Just tell me where I'm going. Great. And I'm going to go ahead and run this and show you again using live data through the emulator. It's connecting up to the real-time data service in the background. But it'd be also really great if I could click on the itinerary items and know where I'm going, because it's not a really good thing when you don't know where you're going. So I'm going to go ahead here and just edit my details page. So again, just tailspin, travel. And I've got my design service. So remember, I added in that control, the itinerary control earlier, so I'm just going to go looking for it with the search box. So you've got search now built in. Makes it really easy to find controls that you've added in. And I can just draw it right here on the surface. So again, I haven't written one line of code. The development team delivered that to me, and I'm able to build the application that I want, how I want it. I can go in and edit this if I want to and actually mess around with the XAML, but once again, it's all data bound. And I'm just going to go ahead and run it and flip over to the emulator, and as you can see, the application's running, and I've got my real-time data being pulled down from the endpoint. So again, really easy to start thinking about the really great line of business applications you can start building using whether you want to use Visual Studio or Expression for your power users who just want to compose apps. Now, I'm going to kick out of this demo, close this down, and I'm actually going to do another one because I've got a little bit of an announcement here for folks, and I want to be able to show it to you. So when we started showing off the phone back at Mobile World Congress in February and then again at Mix, the thing that really resonated with developers and got them really excited was the breathtaking UIs that we could make with the phones. And that really hinged on the panorama and the pivot controls. Now listen, Microsoft is a company built for developers, by developers, and the reason we've been in market for so long with the dev tools relative to when the product is going to ship is because we want your feedback as to what's working, what you need, and giving you guys the tools that you need and the opportunities to build great, amazing looking apps. And we've heard you. Over and over again, people have said, we want the pivot control as a managed control. We want the panorama control as a managed control. So I'm here to let you know that come the beta release of the tool set this summer, you will have a pivot control available for you to use within all of your apps. So let's see what that might look like. So again, right here, I've got a pivot control. As you can see, it's just a pivot strip, and I can go in and start editing the items. So I'm just going to go ahead and change these to today. Oh, I spelled that wrong. Today. And what we're going to be doing is showing you how to build just a quick app displaying some photos, week, and then month, and lastly all. Now in order to get the data working correctly here, I actually have to go ahead and drag it onto the surface. So I'm going to grab my photo data and just drag it right here onto my surface. And again, it's pretty easy to make things look nice. I can go with auto size, auto align, auto sizing, and fill it. Great. And now I want to go ahead and make it look nice because again, I'm not a very good UI guy, and it's much easier if I can go grab some resources and just drag them onto the control surfaces. Hey, that's really nice, and go ahead and apply that. Apply the resource. Now another thing that happens often when I'm working with my design guys, they go and build stuff in other applications that deposit things like Illustrator and Photoshop that deposit files I don't know how to open, I don't know what to do with. So I go ahead and I'm going to delete this and drop in a photo Illustrator file. And all right, so there we go. So again, it's really easy. It just imports it directly. I don't have to worry about Photoshop or Illustrator as a program that my guys that I'm working with, if I'm going to outsource work, want to use. I can go ahead and just quickly reset the brush here and make it look like it fits in the application. And just like that, I can start dropping in art assets without really having to worry about it. So now the pivot control really doesn't get interesting until it does something, because if I go ahead and I build it, we've got the pivot control. It says it's going to deploy to the emulator. Give me a second. It's got today, it's got week, and it's actually showing the data, but nothing happens when I click through. So how do we hook that up and make it work? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and find my behavior. This is specific to expression. You just drag the behavior, pivot change, drop it on the pivot control. And now that I've got that, I can say, hey, when the pivot strip action is taken, I want to go ahead and modify the list box that we've got here. Again, I'll go ahead and run it. I actually forgot to hook up the context. This isn't going to work. I apologize. Thought I was being slick. Yeah, so it's not loading the data. So what did I forget to do? Because it's a data-bound application, I actually have to go in and set the context of these items. So new, I go back in. Again, I've got my view model. So this is today, week. Again, I've got two view models I dropped in, today and week. Drop those in, and I go ahead and run the app. And real simply, again, I haven't written one line of code. I've been importing all the work that my development team has done. I'm just a power user wanting to compose apps using Expression. And you can see the pivot control works great, loads the data, and it does all the right data. It loads in the right data given the context. So that's actually pretty exciting. So that's it. We're doing really great things with the dev tools. We got Visual Studio, we've got Expression Blend for all types of developers and people wanting to build applications for Windows Phone 7. We hope that you guys are really excited and go and download the dev tools today. Thanks, Terry.
Yeah. Thanks, Brandon. So Brandon demonstrated a very photo-centric app. It was a photo album app. But we are working with our enterprise customers with Windows Phone 7 to think about how to integrate their enterprise applications into the phone. Those enterprises that have experience with Silverlight, this is actually very straightforward for them to do. But it's also been most interesting to see those that have taken a look at the integrated experiences and smart design of the phone and say, how would my enterprise fit in? And there's some very interesting work going on with enterprise portals. The thing about how you might have notifications on the home screen that say, like for me, I get a lot of these, approve this expense report, approve this, approve that. And to have a token that lets me know what I need to do for my team right up front. And then likewise to have a panorama that might pivot me through the various SharePoint sites or various things I need to know. So there's a lot of really interesting opportunities for our customers to integrate with the phone using these tools that we've previously announced are all free. So we've previously talked about the tools, but this is really the first time we're talking about the marketplace. The way the marketplace is going to work is it's an extension of our Windows Phone 6X marketplace. There, each developer or developer team registers for $99. For that $99, you're able to submit 5 free apps and then an unlimited number of paid apps to the phone. This cost does partially cover our expenses in certifying who the application distributor is and actually ingesting the applications themselves. So it's something we're doing to sort of ensure we have a high integrity marketplace for all of the end users. There are a set of policies which we're trying to be extremely transparent about. We want the ingestion process to be very quick, very transparent, and very reliable for everyone. We're not trying to place any subjective claim on anything, but we want to create a high integrity experience for the end user as they go to the marketplace. All applications can be tried before they buy. There's an API in the application where you can call my in trial mode or my have I been purchased if you want to differentiate the experience in trial versus buy mode, which I expect most applications would do. There's a notification service which is available for all applications to use. And applications can be published worldwide for no fee. You can decide if your application is only available in one marketplace. You also can specify whether your application is available publicly to everyone or privately for something like a beta distribution for up to, it's really designed for distribution for up to about 100 users. And so that's what we have this holiday. Obviously, we got a lot more we want to do with application distribution over time. We want to support System Center and other classic enterprise software distribution mechanisms. But this fall, we will have the Windows Phone Marketplace really focused on distributing to end users' applications and giving everyone a high-quality experience, both the developer and the end user. So just sort of wrapping up, there really is, 3 things I'd like you to take away from our time here today. The first one is we really have taken a step back. We really want to deliver captivating and productive experiences for the end user. These are end users not only in their personal lives, but also as they work every day with Microsoft Office, SharePoint, Exchange. We want them to really find their day, just have a delightful experience with this phone in their pocket. We're focused very closely on integrating this phone with your existing investments in Microsoft infrastructure. We want this phone to be secured through Exchange policies. We want to make sure it works with the infrastructure, whether it's online with BPOS or on-premise, classically with Exchange or SharePoint. And lastly, from a developer perspective, we're really thinking about the tools. Visual Studio, Expression Blend, Silverlight XNA. These are the tools that hopefully you have a lot of familiar with today. And all of that experience you've built up over time, it applies to the phone now. So we've had a very positive reaction from folks that have had experience with the phone. Over the next few months, we will be rolling out phones to more and more people. Developer program kicks off next month in earnest. For those of you that are interested, you can go to our website and register to participate in that developer program. And certainly, I would love to get more feedback from you this fall as more and more of your user base hopefully gets our phones. So these are the 2 websites. I'd ask you to, there's a little typo there. Developer has 1 P in it, I just noticed. So we'll go register developer later this afternoon in case anyone types it in literally. But there's these 2 different websites, one for IT professionals, one for developers. And they both have quite a bit of information about our phones for those 2 perspectives. And lastly, there's several more talks here at the conference on Windows phones, and it would be great to have you at those to learn more. So with that, thank you for coming. I would love to get your feedback on the phones as you might get some experience with them. I really appreciate your time.